Good morning, students. Today we are actually going to still be working with classifying matter through the 6 ways, but we're only going to focus on 2 today. We're going to focus on relative density as well as solubility a little bit. Now, relative density, if you guys remember, that is the ability to sink or float in water. So what I'm going to do here to help us understand that is I'm actually going to make a density tower. So I actually have some supplies right here. What I'm going to do first is I'm actually going to take this olive oil and I'm going to put it in our glass. So I'm just going to put some in here. Let's see. That should be good. Okay. Now, relative density is based on how things sink and float. So the next thing I'm going to see, because I need to add something to this to make my density tower, I'm going to actually add something called molasses. If you guys don't know what it is, I want you to think of it as like a really, really thick syrup, like that you'd eat pancakes with. Here, 1 second, I'm going to lean you guys up against that so I can actually take it off. There we go. Okay, so I'm going to put that in there. It's very slow. You see? So it's immediately going to the bottom, which means that, guys, this is more dense than olive oil. You can also see that it's not mixing together either. So as of right now, we have 2 things that are not mixing together. So this is still our density tower. We can tell that it right now is 2 separate things. And it's slowly getting to the bottom, but yeah, there it is. Now, you see right here, that part, that's all the molasses. Right here is all of that olive oil. Now, next thing I'm going to add is some water. So I'm going to keep adding water here. I'm going to do it very slowly. Now if you look carefully, you can see that most of the oil is on top. Oh, there it is. Some got trapped under there from me splashing in the water. But here's the water, and then right here is the molasses again. So even if I try to add more molasses, it might take a minute. It's coming. You can see it's going straight down even past the water, so it is easily more dense than the water. So right now in our density tower, we can already tell that 1, the oil is less dense than the water because it's floating on top of the water. Here's the water. See, even that little bit that was trapped underneath the molasses and it's still going all the way up. And that right there, that's a little bit of molasses. That little black dot, that's the molasses right there. It's a little drop of it. It's slowly moving down. Now some of this is caught just on the sides of the glass, and that's why they're staying there. I want you to forget about those. What I want you to realize is oil is less dense than water. That's why it's always going to float. And molasses is like that syrup, and you guys seen that syrup is thicker than water, so that one is going to be right down here. See, there it goes. Some of it is just trapped underneath the molasses a little bit. Now, I don't want to just leave it at that, so add a little bit more before I add the other objects. There we go. Alright, so the next thing I'm going to actually add is this piece of wood. I actually just grabbed it from a clip. So I'm going to gently place that in there. I'm going to add a little bit more water. a little bit more olive oil. You can see that the wood is, we already knew that wood was less dense than water, but now we also know that it is less dense than oil. So the next thing I'm going to actually add, the other part of that clip is actually the metal spring part. So I'm actually going to add that to it and see where it goes. That, you can see it's actually at the bottom. So if we lift this up, you can barely see it right there. So that's actually the most dense thing in our density tower now. Now the last thing I wanted to add is this bottle cap. It's a plastic bottle cap. I want to see where that one goes. So if I put that in, I'm going to actually push it down here real quick to see what happens. It wants to float on top of the water, but it sinks right there. It sinks underneath, so it's less dense than the water, but more dense than the oil. So there you have it. This is our density tower with the one thing you cannot see, which would be the metal spring, and then our molasses, water, a plastic bottle cap, oil, and then at the very top we have our piece of wood. Now one last thing I want to go over real quick is solubility. We did talk about this before, guys. I just want to go over it real quick. So in our last video I showed you what happens when we had a packet of emergency, which is a vitamin drink mix. It dissolved in the water because it is soluble. Another thing that is soluble is sugar. This one we do remember. We can kind of tell right now. So what I'm going to do is, I'm just going to grab something real quick. Here we go. I'm going to get a spoon. And the more I stir, it's going to help all that sugar dissolve. Now remember, guys, things that dissolve, very easy to remember: salt, sugar, lemon juice, lime juice, honey. Honey is actually less dense. I'm sorry, honey is more dense than water. Honey is more dense than water, but it does end up dissolving if you stir it. It's because it's mainly made up of sugar, and this molasses is the same thing. If I actually start stirring that, it'll probably start dissolving into the water as well. But since it sank to the bottom first, we also know that it is more dense. So one thing I want you guys to do today, I'm going to give you two options of what your assignment is. First one, you need to complete STEMscope's 5-point A, all the assignments, which would be picture vocab, the video connections, and the math connections. I added one. Also, the post assessment. You need to complete every single one of those for today. Or one other thing that I'm going to give you an option to do. You can actually make your own density tower. If you do, you need to send pictures to me. If you do not send pictures of your density tower to me, then it is considered that you did not do an assignment for me today. But if you're going to do the density tower, you do need to ask permission from your parents. You can't just go off and do this immediately. Understood? Alright guys, if you do this, please send me the pictures. I'm really excited to see if you guys do this or not. Have a great day.